Hi everyone, this is Jonathan Quayle again, and welcome to today's Lifebuilder daily quote and reflection. So as promised in my video yesterday, I'm going to be talking some more about flow today. And the quote I've chosen is by Eckhart Tolle. You probably know him. He's written The Power of Now and A New Earth, probably one of the most well-known spiritual teachers in the world. And this is what he has to say about this phenomenon of flow. I think it's the best definition that I've actually found of it. So he said, artistic creation, sports, dance, teaching, counselling, mastery in any field of endeavour implies that the thinking mind's either no longer involved at all, or at least is taking second place. A power and intelligence greater than you, and yet one with you in essence, takes over. There is no decision-making process anymore. Spontaneous right action happens, and you are not doing it. Mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with the greater consciousness. It acts, speaks, and does the works. Very profound. So, rather than reflecting on that, because I think the quote kind of speaks for itself, I'm going to share an experience that I had of flow. I used to be a professional squash player. So I had this experience early in my professional squash career. I was about 6 months into it and found that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to win, to perform, as one does. In my mind, I thought that I should be beating anyone who wasn't a professional, but that's not the way the game works. It's played on a court and not on paper, and not just in our minds. So I was definitely negatively affecting my performance, sabotaging my own performance by putting all this pressure on myself. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. I was playing very uncreatively. I wasn't particularly enjoying my squash, which kind of defeats the point. But at that stage, I was kind of locked into this mindset of performance, achievement. I had to achieve my goal, which was to be a world champion, and so it was kind of win at all costs. If you've been involved in any kind of competitive sport, maybe you know the mindset. So anyway, this hadn't been serving me particularly well. I was into this first season as a professional, a few months into it, and I was losing to players that I thought I shouldn't lose to. I'd lost to a guy who was in his late 30s. He'd been quite a good player. He'd been in the top 10 in South Africa in his time, but he was well past that. But he was still a good player and very experienced, and I'd lost to him 3-love in our club champs. And a month or two later, I was due to play him in a derby match. So we had two first league sides in Johannesburg. He was in the one and I was in the other, and I was his opposing number. So I was due to play him that evening, and being a derby match, you know, there would have been a decent crowd, probably 20-30 people come out to watch, and obviously all the best players at the club are there playing. And so I put this tremendous amount of pressure on myself to win and to perform. And I remember the whole day feeling anxious, nervous, and it just kind of got worse as the day progressed. It was an evening match. And then finally at about sort of 4:30, 5 o'clock, my sister said, well, you know, I'm going for a walk, I'm taking the dog for a walk, do you want to come? And I thought, what the hell, you know, I'm just going to wait another hour stressing. So I went for a walk, and we had a chat, and it was quite a nice evening. And she just said, well, why don't you just relax and enjoy it? And that message really hit home for me. And so the walk had put me into a frame of mind where I wasn't really thinking. Got into a state where I could just kind of relax. And with some difficulty, admittedly, it took a lot of mental effort. I managed to stay in that state for the rest of the evening until I played my match, which was quite late in the evening, 8:30 or 9. I was the last game on court. And I managed to keep myself in this clear state where I just wasn't thinking. I hadn't thought about my strategy, about what I was going to do. I managed to just go on court and be completely empty and just kind of trust, abandon myself to this process. And what happened was amazing. I found that I played unbelievable squash, probably the best game I've ever played in my life. I had this experience of not really feeling like I was doing it. It was more like I was being played. It was happening through me. I was watching it. I was the observer of this whole performance, which was amazing. I enjoyed it, but there was this sense of someone else kind of observing and watching how this all happened through me. It was quite an unreal experience, and I've had what are called zone experiences since, but never quite to that extent. And needless to say, I played very well. I beat him fairly easily, only got a few points, whereas previously I'd lost to him 3-love. So I turned the result completely around. I remember coming off the court and him saying, "Wow, if you play like that, you'll challenge some of the top guys in the country." And more importantly than a result was just the sense of liberation, of feeling liberated from that fear and that anxiety, and that uncreative energy that was really stifling my ability to play the kind of creative squash that I knew I could play. And I felt completely liberated and overjoyed. And I remember going home that evening and telling my sister about it, and just feeling like I'd really broken through to another level. And I experienced exactly what Eckhart Tolle describes in this quote, that it wasn't really me doing it. It wasn't that I was in control. It was just like I'd surrendered to this higher power, greater consciousness, and it did it through me. And that's the experience of flow, of authentic flow, which we can have anywhere and any time. It's not necessarily just confined to sporting experiences. We can have an experience flow when we're shopping, when we're cooking, when we're working, when we're preparing for a speech, when we're speaking. Almost any activity, we can experience a state of flow where we kind of surrender and it happens through us. Jesus said something to his disciples when he sent them out to go and preach his message. He said, "Don't worry about what you're going to say." He said, "It will happen through you. The Spirit will speak through you." And that, when we can surrender, that is genuinely what happens in any area of our life. So, if you'd like to experience more flow in your life, more of this surrendered state where it just happens through you and you do things and achieve things that simply aren't possible in an ordinary, controlling, fearful state of consciousness, then I'd like to invite you to join me for a free webinar that I'll be giving on Thursday this week. So that's the 9th of May, but it's every Thursday, so if you happen to be watching this video some other time, it will be this coming Thursday for you, from 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. South African time, where I'll be talking about how to let go of stressful, negative thoughts and emotions and find your flow in life. So, as I said, free webinar, join me. It's a very simple registration process. You can just go to theaolg.com, that's theaolg.com, and you can see the URL on the screen now. Just head over there, register. You'll get a confirmation message by email with details of how to log on, and enjoy it. I think you'll learn something from it, and I'll be talking about how to take this further during the webinar, if what I share with you during the webinar inspires you. So thanks for watching today's Lifebuilder inspirational quote and reflection, and I hope to see you during the webinar. And tune in tomorrow for another Lifebuilder Daily Inspiration. It's election day in South Africa tomorrow, which is where I happen to be at the moment, so I'll be talking a little bit about that, the power of choice. Look forward to catching you there. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day.